Good morning, class. So, welcome back to our Science 1 lecture. Last lecture, we had started with force and pressure. We had learned what is force and what are the different types of forces. In our last lecture, we had learned about balanced, unbalanced, contact, non contact forces. Now, today, we are going to be focusing on pressure. Now, everyone must have observed the tires of two-wheeler, four-wheelers getting pressurized. Now, in the petrol pumps, when you go, there is a air filling machine that has pressure indicator, like which you can see, a pressure indicator, digital reader, a pressure, and the machine fills the pressure to a certain value. Okay, so everyone is aware that force has to be applied when you're filling the air in a bicycle tire using a hand pump. So while applying force, air pressure is increased and then that air is pushed into the tire. So are force and pressure related to each other? What do you think? Now just let us take an example. We have taken some pointed nails and one bottle and we are trying to hammer it to the wall. Okay, now when you try to hammer it from the opposite side, from the pointed end, it doesn't get pressed into the wall, but when you do it on the other way around, that the pointed side is towards the wall and the flat side is towards the hammer, then it easily goes inside the wall. So what does this simple experiment tell you? That the nail easily penetrates into the wood or the wall from its pointed ends. Okay, this from this you can notice that when a force is applied on the head of the tail, it is easier to hammer into the plank. Similar way, it is very easier for us to cut vegetable fruits with a sharp knife. While if we do it from the opposite side, from the blunt side, it does not work. So what happens here? Because the force exerted perpendicularly on a particular area is called as pressure. So pressure is smaller the area of pressure, the larger, smaller the area of force, larger will be the pressure applied. Now pointed side of nail area was small, while on the other side area is big. So pointed side requires it gets more pressure and it goes easily in, while flat side less pressure is applied and it cannot easily move into the wooden plank. So for what is pressure then? The force exerted per unit area is called as pressure. Okay, it's given by the formula force upon area. The SI unit of pressure is N, that is Newton. Okay, or Newton square meter or Pascal. PASCAL, Pascal. Okay, greater the force, greater is the pressure. Greater the area, pressure is reduced. If area is more, pressure is less. If area is less, pressure is more. Okay, this we can also get to know by camel's feet. We'll come to that. So this is your pressure formula. Pressure is equal to force upon area, where pressure is measured in pascals, force is measured in Newton, area is measured in square meter or meter square. So 1 pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. So as I was telling you, for camel's feet, like it's a national adaptation, the bottom of the camel's feet are broad. Okay, so hence the camel's weight is exerted on a large area and the pressure on the sand is reduced. Because the area is more, the pressure is reduced, and that's the reason camel's feet do not go inside the sand and it becomes easier to walk. Okay, that's one of the examples where area is more and the pressure applied is less. Okay, let us learn about what is pressure on solids. How pressure can be applied on solid objects. Okay, now air pressure is exerted on all objects kept in air. Okay, when a weight is kept on a solid, pressure is exerted on it. Now this pressure depends upon the weight and the contact area between the two. Now your the knife, cutting blades, scissors, knives, they have small surface area. Their contact area is small, so the pressure applied is more. Okay, the bottom of the football shoes consists of spikes. This spikes reduces the area of contact, and hence the pressure on the track increases. The area is small, pressure is more, and that gives better grip on the ground. A boy is digging the hole with a spade. Now because the edges of the spade is sharp, the surface area of contact with the ground is small, big pressure is resulted in making digging the ground. Now on the other way, if you see here, wooden plank increases surface area of contact and reduces pressure. Because of the wooden plank, the boy doesn't have that much pressure of taking riding that, and the wheelbarrow, the pressure of the wheelbarrow is reduced here because the area is more and pressure becomes less. Wide shoulder of the bags. Your bags have wide shoulder pads attached to it. What happens when because of the larger area, pressure applied is less, and the weight of the bag on the shoulder of the boy will also be reduced because the pressure applied is less. In animal kingdom, like elephants have broad soles to reduce pressure exerted on ground. Similar way, polar bears have wide paws so that they don't sink into the soft snow. They can easily walk in those snow even due to heavy weights. So these are some examples where if the weight is less, if the area is less, pressure is more, and if the area is more, pressure is less. It can be both helpful and harmful. Now this is an activity of pressure on solids given in your textbook, page number 17, where they have said you that how force and pressure are interrelated. Like there's a difference between the three diagram. First diagram, the plank is kept. Second diagram, the books are kept equally into space, so the plank doesn't bend because the weight applied is equal. But in the third diagram, where the weight is kept only in the middle, the plank tends to bend. Okay. Same way, if you have seen like when we stand at one place for a long period of time, our legs starts paining, but we can sleep in a one position for 8 hours because vertically when we are standing, the area is less. Okay, area is less and the pressure is more. Well, horizontally the area is more and the pressure is less. Here in the case of books also, when it was horizontally kept, area is more, pressure is less. When it is kept vertically, the area is less, pressure is more. Okay, this is about pressure in solids. Now what about pressures of liquid? Now this one experiment is given to you in your textbook activity. Take a plastic bottle, pierce it with a thick needle at a points 1, 2, 3. Okay, now fill the bottle with full height. Now water jets will be seen emerging and projecting out. What do you observe? The water jet emerging from the hole on the top. The third one is closest to the bottle. Jet from the lowest one, that is the first one, is farthest from the bottle. Okay, and also the jets coming up from two holes at the same level follow the same distance from the bottle. What is understood by this? What you can understand by this? At any level, liquid pressure is the same. Pressure increases as the depth of liquid increases. The more deeper the liquid is, the pressure is more. The more higher the liquid is, the pressure is less. But liquid pressure will be same in any level. Okay. Gas pressure. Now, if you have inflated a balloon, when you're filling air in a balloon with your mouth, it inflates at all the sides. And if a hole is created in a balloon, air leaks out and balloon does not get inflated fully. So for this, you can realize like liquid, gas also exerts pressure in all the walls of the container. Wherever you will blow the air, all the walls of the container, the gas will exert pressure. So gas and liquid both exerts pressure on the containers in which they are filled. Okay, so that is the reason gases and liquids are called as fluids, because fluids exert pressure within the walls of the container. So that was about solid, liquid and gas pressure that we have learned. And let us learn about what is an atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is now in our earth is surrounded by air from all over the sides. Now this layer of earth is called as atmosphere. Now atmosphere exists about 16 kilometers of height. Okay, and it extends up to 400 kilometers in a very dilute form, minute forms. Now pressure exerted by this air is called as atmospheric pressure. Okay, so air pressure at a sea level is called as 1 atmospheric pressure. Air pressure decreases as we go above the sea level. So as we go above the sea level, as the height goes on increasing, the atmospheric pressure goes on decreasing. That is the reason when we climb mountains, it becomes difficult for us to breathe, because as the height goes on increasing in the mountain level, the atmospheric pressure goes on decreasing. Now 1 atmosphere is equal to 101 into 10 raised to 3 pascals. Okay, atmospheric pressure is specified in units mbar or hectopascal. Okay, so atmospheric pressure is the pressure applied by air around us. Higher altitudes there will be lower pressure, lower altitudes there will be high pressure. So as we go above the sea level, the pressure, atmospheric pressure will go on increasing. So constantly we have atmospheric pressure on our head, but because we are on the ground, this atmospheric pressure does not, we cannot feel it. But when we go above the sea level at a certain height, then we can see this atmospheric pressure. Okay, buoyant force, the next one they have given you. Take a plastic bottle. In page number 19 this activity is given. Take a plastic bottle and fix the lid tightly. Now place it in water and see. Now what will happen? The plastic bottle will float, right? Now try to push it into water. So even when you push it into water, it will continue to float. अगर खाली बॉटल को हम कितना भी जोर लगा के नीचे डालें, it will come up only. But now fill the bottle with water. पानी के साथ भर लो and now close the lid and then put the bottle inside. Will it float? No, it will sink into the bottle. So empty plastic bottles floats on the surface of the water, while bottle filled with water floats inside the water. It will float inside the water, but you will see that it will not go at the bottom. वो नीचे तक नहीं जाएगा, bottom में जाके गिर नहीं जाएगा. It will float inside the water because the weight of the empty bottle is negligible as compared to weight of the water inside. जो पानी एक्चुअली अंदर है उसके पानी से बहुत कम है वो weight of the bottle. So because of the force of gravity, the bottle will go in, but it will float inside the water. Okay, that is the reason why we pull a bucket from a well. When the bucket full of water is immersed in the well, it appears to have weight less. But when we start pulling it, the weight is been more. जब तक वो bucket पानी के अंदर रहता है, भले वो पानी से भरा हुआ रहता है, we don't feel any weight. But as soon as you take it outside from the well, outside from the water, you will find that weight. Okay, it becomes heavier. Okay. So are we clear with this? Now from this example we can say that buoyant force depends on two factors: volume of the object and the density of the object. If the force is more, if the volume of tipping object is more, and if the density is more is a force of buoyancy. So you have to remember these points, where how to decide whether an object will sink in water, or it will float in water, or it will float inside the water. So object floats if the buoyant force is larger than its weight, and if the object sinks, the buoyant force is smaller than its weight. And third, if the object floats inside the liquid, the buoyant force is equal to its weight. So if the object is floating, like this plastic bottle which is floating, empty plastic bottle, so the buoyant force is larger than its weight. If the object sinks, like if you put stone inside the water, it directly goes at the bottom. It is because force is smaller than its weight. And if it is floating inside the liquid, like in the filled bottle which is floating inside, that means the buoyant force is equal to its weight. Okay, I hope everyone is understood with what is buoyant force. Buoyant force depends upon volume and density. If the volume is more, buoyant force is more. Density is more, buoyant force is more. Okay, so the last part of the chapter that we have is Archimedes' principle. Now they've given you an activity. Try this in your textbook, page number 20. Now take a long rubber band and cut it at one point. At one of its ends, tie a clean washed stone or a 50-gram weight. Now hold the other end of the rubber band and make a mark there. Now you have kept an empty beaker, and you're holding that rubber band with that 50-gram weight, and you're marking the point where that stone is hanging. Now keep the stone hanging in air and measure the length of the rubber band from the stone to the mark made earlier. Now take water in a pot, hold the rubber band at such a height that the stone sinks in it. Again measure the length of the rubber band up to the mark. What is observed? Now you are putting the water inside that. Your stone is sinking into water. Now what do you observe? The length is shorter than the earlier length. The length of the rubber bands gets shorter than the earlier one. Before water, the length of the rubber band was more, and after water, when you put it in water, the length of the rubber band has become short. While dipping the stone in water, length of the stretched rubber band gets slowly reduced and is minimum when it sinks completely. Now what can be the reason for this? So when the stone is sunk in water, a buoyant force acts on the upward direction, and the weight of the stone acts on the downward direction. So the force which acts on the downward direction is effectively reduced. Okay. So is this same for all the liquids? Does this happen for all the liquids? So Archimedes' principle says us that when an object is partially or fully immersed in fluid, a force of buoyancy acts on it in the upward direction, and this force is equal to the weight of fluid displaced by the object. Okay. So the use of Archimedes' principle is used very wide. It is used in lactometer, hydrometer. Now this is hydrometer, which gives us the water content, and lactometer, which gives us the content of milk in the milk. How much milk is present, how much water is present, we can get to know from this. The principle has been used in the construction of ships and submarines. You know, ships, those ships which are fighter ships, they sometimes float on water, and when they have to get safe from the enemies, they sink in the bottom. They float inside the water. So here is where Archimedes principle works. So according to Archimedes, whenever a object is put into water, partially or fully dipped into water, a buoyant force acts upon it, and that force is equal to weight of the object. So the rubber band gets reduced in size. Okay. So what is density? Basically, density is mass upon volume. For buoyant force, density is very important. Like ice, when you put it in water, it will float because the density of ice is less than that of water. While stone will sink because the density is more than that of water. So for buoyant force, density is important. So density is given by mass upon volume. The SI unit is kg per meter cube because mass is calculated in kg and volume is calculated in meter cube. So it is mass kg upon meter cube. And the property of density is very useful for deciding the purity of a substance. Okay. Then relative density is expressed as density of a substance with respect to density of water. Whenever we have to find out relative density of any substance, it is expressed with respect to density of water. Okay, but relative density is a ratio, so that doesn't have any unit. There is no unit for relative density. Okay, so we have completed with the theory part of this chapter in the today. Next lecture I am going to be solving the sums of this chapter. Okay, and there are sums in this chapter, solved examples and few sums. So next lecture I will be showing you that. And as I have already discussed in the group also, for your first practice set, Science 1 you have chapter number 5, Science 2 you have chapter number 1 for your first practice set. Please be prepared. Okay children, goodbye everyone then. See you there. Take care. Don't move out without wearing a mask. Be safe.